You see what the happens when you don't give me a good review.
But I did give you a good review.
Oh, well, why didn't you just say so?
Yeah, I mean, a C is a passing grade.
You see that? That little lied to me. Don't worry, he'll be back for the review. No one ever dies when they're supposed to.
Howdy. I just saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was pretty good. Also, this is a non-spoiler review. I'm sure the internet has probably spoiled a lot for you guys, so I'm not going to be doing that, but make sure you go see the movie before you watch the review. So if you can't tell by my handy background props, I'm a huge Deadpool fan, and I was very much looking forward to this movie, but more cautiously optimistic than anything. Honestly, going into it, I had pretty low expectations. Ryan Reynolds posted a statement that basically said, like, go into it just trying to have fun, don't critically think during the movie, and it kind of sounded like that was something you'd say when you're expecting your movie to get review bombed. And on top of that, Sean Levy, the movie's director, hasn't released, I don't know, anything that I've really cared for since Night at the Smithsonian, so I didn't have all that much hope for it, to be completely honest. Luckily, this movie's a whole lot better than Levy's previous work. Granted, there's fair criticism of a lot of things, its emotional tonality swings, or the really awkward CGI that happens at certain times, but it's still really fun overall. It's pretty funny. They lean into the Deadpool humor quite a bit, despite it being a Disney movie. They still say some pretty raunchy things, but, most of the time it just kind of boils down to just gay jokes. This movie is a cameo fest. It's filled with a bunch of people playing a lot of characters you've either seen before or really wanted to see, and that it really works well for me personally, because I've wanted to see these people play these characters either again or for the first time. It's basically a lot of people that never really got the chance that the superhero movie industry should have given them, or at least they didn't get as good a chance as people who now are able to get. That being said, even though I had a lot of fun with it, the plot is all over the place. It's supposed to be like a buddy cop movie, but it's also supposed to be a redemption arc for certain people and characters, and it just kind of bounces between the two. It never really strikes an emotional chord that it's going for. Especially there's certain scenes where they're trying to hit at a strong emotion, and it, I don't know, for us we kind of have a bias on it, because when we went to go see the movie, somebody farted really loud during a very sad scene, and the entire theater just started cracking up. So if that was like a genuinely emotional scene and I would have gotten something out of it, I apologize for being incorrect in this sense, but it was really funny. Somebody just ripped ass as Hugh Jackman was like damn near crying, and yeah, kind of no real emotion came out of any of us other than a laugh. Speaking of Hugh Jackman, he does a great job in this movie, as he always has with Wolverine, and they really lean into the comic side of Wolverine with this one. You've got his heightened sense of smell, his beast-like stance, just fun stuff like that the character should have been doing this entire time. On top of putting him in a bunch of iconic comic suits that Wolverine has worn, that we've been dying to see him wear for so long. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Jackman's Wolverine is really fun to watch. Their chemistry on screen is just immaculate. Their verbal sparring, their fight scenes, and even just scenes where they're just kind of existing in the same shot, it just felt right. It felt like something that it should have happened so much longer ago and never really did for whatever reason. And I'm sure Disney is happy as hell that this movie ended up panning out the way that it did. As a standalone film, obviously it's not that great. It's a superhero movie filled with cameos for fans that have been obsessing over, random Hollywood insider bits for the longest time. The first two Deadpool movies had a much better tone and story to them, and they were structured more, while this one is more so, hey, you've wanted to see these people as these characters, meet these people as these characters for so long, and we did it, which is really cool. It's admittedly what most people went for, but I mean, if you're looking for like a good, solid film, you're not getting it out of this one. That being said, I still loved it. I'm a nerd. They got me. This is exactly what I wanted out of this movie. I thought it was going to be worse humor than the original two, and granted, there's a couple jokes that just don't really land. There's some Gen Z slang thrown in there that's like, why? Why would you add that? But I still had a great time. It was still funny. I still got to see cool shit. That's all I really wanted out of the movie. It's exactly what you'd expect out of a Disney Deadpool movie. It pulls its punches at times, but it has fan service and some, a team up that we've been dying to see for years. Like, that's what people came to see. We saw that with No Way Home. The theaters erupted and loved it. And even though No Way Home I still think is a pretty good movie, we went there to go see the Spider-Man unite. We came here to see Deadpool and Wolverine team up. Okay, as it turns out, I've got more to say. This is going to be the spoiler-filled section, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, go watch it. Come back when you're ready. Okay. So Channing Tatum in this movie as Gambit is just perfect. It's everything I wanted out of it. He's been dying to play the character for forever. I've been dying to see him play the character for forever, and he absolutely killed it in the role. That like really awkward accent that he does that's supposed to be like the French Louisiana accent that, as Deadpool points out, kind of sounds like a minion, is the funniest shit ever. I loved it. On top of that, his like fighting style, I think they nailed. The playing cards, the costumes, the hair. The execution on Gambit was perfect. Same thing with Blade. Wesley Snipes returning as the character was not perfect, but goddamn, it was funny. That ice skating line that they referenced from the first Blade movie, on top of the other like jokes about Ryan Reynolds and him not getting along on set for I think Blade Trinity. Just the humor between the characters with Blade worked really well. Elektra was just kind of all right. I've never really cared for Jennifer Gardner's take on the character. I mean, obviously the original Daredevil movie wasn't that great with Ben Affleck, and then her spin-off movie I've never seen. It could be a masterpiece, but I'll probably never know. That final fight scene that's very obviously an homage to Oldboy, I feel like could have been done better. It feels like a lot of extras just kind of setting up and waiting to get hit by the protagonists as they run up to them and, perform whatever move on them they have to. And on top of that, the way that it kind of cuts at the end to show them breaking out of the bus at the back, and then Hugh Jackman's not even Hugh Jackman, a computer-generated Wolverine just kind of like hovers in like a video game idle pose. It was really kind of disorienting and strange. That whole section could have been handled a little bit better, I thought. I hope that bit in the movie about Deadpool dying in Thor's arms is not like a full circle joke that gets made at one point, because I think it'd be kind of a bad thing to kill off Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool this early. I still think he needs to work on other things in the MCU. There's definitely better stories that can be told with his character. And now that he kind of, has the obvious fanfare that he can work with, I think he should get more projects greenlit for the character. And, I get that he's, aging out of the role, but still, use him while you got him. There still needs to be a team up between Deadpool and Spider-Man at some point, and preferably it'd be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. It'll never happen in a million years, but Jesus Christ, that'd be the greatest thing to ever happen to Marvel movies ever, I think. Those two not only are the best at playing their characters, but I think they fit the characters the most, and being able to see them interact the way that Deadpool and Wolverine was able to interact in this movie would just, I don't know, that'd be another just comic nerd wet dream. The villain in the movie, who's Professor X's sister, I think it's Emma something. I don't know. Kind of forgettable. I don't know. She was all right. Just kind of compelling at times, kind of not. Just kind of going for like a charming but intimidating thing, and it didn't really work for me. That weird hand morphing thing where she reached into somebody's face and just kind of messed around with their skull was really creepy, and I think that worked really well. But kind of everything else was just meh. I felt like Frances from the first film had a better overall effect as a villain in that movie than she did in this one. Anyway, overall, I think this movie is a damn good time. It's by no means a cinematic masterpiece, but for somebody who is a sucker for this kind of shit, I absolutely loved it. My friends absolutely loved it. That being said, I still probably give Deadpool and Wolverine only a 7 out of 10. It's fun, it's funny, it has all the things that I wanted to get out of it, but it's by no means a solid film. I think up next on my list is Alien Romulus, which should be coming out soon. I think after that, we've got Joker 2, which I might review. I don't know. That's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. And then after that, we finally get Nosferatu, which I kind of expect will be one of my favorites this year. So expect something on that when it comes out in, I think, December. Well, until then, later.